Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is November 29th. Right now we're looking at the infrared satellite imagery. You can see we got BC, Washington, Oregon underneath this swath of clouds. This weak system kind of moving out of the north and west towards the Pacific Northwest. And you can also see this big ridge here. So we're going to be dealing with this ridge, what's known as a dirty ridge, where some of these systems are creeping by on the north side of that ridge and kind of brushing us as they move back down towards the Intermountain West. So we'll take a look at what we can expect with that. We'll take a look at the extent of forecast and we'll see what's coming up. I got some king tides coming up this week as well. Will we have any wave action out there? We'll check that out also. So if we look at the combination of Doppler radars, you can see this thing is pretty moisture starved. There's just some very light precipitation moving through here. A little bit of a stronger system will move through Monday into Tuesday. We'll take a look at that and then we'll take a look off into next week as well. So you can see Spokane National Weather Service already on top of things this morning. You can see the Saturday, Sunday, just some snow showers, flurries, dry, chilly. Monday, Tuesday, a little bit more precipitation with that one. And then Wednesday, Thursday, we'll take a look at that here in a moment. And they do talk about the seasonal king tides coming up here in the National Weather Service office. But I'll show you the latest on the waves here because we don't have any huge storms out there coming during the peak king tides right now. But I'll show you the latest on that here. And if you want a nice affordable home weather station, check this one out. This is the barometric pressure for it. It's all solar powered, no moving parts. Great Christmas gift, by the way, and easy to set up. You have this up and running on Christmas morning or Christmas Eve whenever you open your gifts, and then you can get this going at your house. So yeah, a very fun station. I highly recommend it. Click on the link down below to save 10% off on one. So we're looking at the North American view. You can see Alaska is way up to the upper left there. You can see the Pacific Northwest there. And you see all this warm air being pumped up into the Gulf of Alaska. That is our ridge, our anticyclonic flow. And if I put that into motion, you kind of see how it's not moving too much there. And kind of going in through the end of this weekend. And then on in through Monday. Finally, you see a bit of cold air kind of moving down. That's why we call it a dirty ridge. The ridge is still there. Weak system moves through. And you can see the ridge just continuing as we go on in the next Wednesday, Thursday, and then maybe some changes coming after that, but still a few days to dry out here at least. Now, if we take a look here at the European model, we'll scroll through here and you can see barely see today's system going by here, and it does bring some snow for eastern Oregon, some portions of Idaho, but very light indeed as it kind of swoops through there. And then we go on in through the day Monday, you see a little bit more of an impactful system there. It could bring a couple inches to the Cascades of Washington, maybe northeast Washington, coming across northeast Oregon, some of the Rocky Mountains there as well, and that will be moving out by the time we get towards Wednesday morning. And then after that, another weak system kind of moving by to our north. So if we take a look at the winds right now, we're dealing with some offshore winds. This is this morning. This is a North American high resolution model. It's about 6 a.m. And you can see those are easterly winds. They should be relaxing for the most part on the day today across the Washington, Oregon Cascades. You are getting some gusterly northeast northerly winds as we go through today and tonight across eastern Washington, some Oregon, Idaho also. You can see a little bit of northeast wind kind of trickling out of the Fraser River Valley there also. Then we get the winds kind of dying back a little bit there until the next system tries to arrive there on Monday. Now, looking at positive snow depth change in inches, you'll see there goes today's storm. You can see, just barely, maybe a half an inch or so across some portions of eastern Oregon. Then we go with Monday's system, and you can see maybe a couple inches as we go through Monday night into Tuesday morning across the Cascades. Some of British Columbia here, northeast Washington, 2-3 inches. Idaho Panhandle, some of northwest Montana also as we go on in through Tuesday morning. Maybe some higher amounts across some portions of the Rockies there also. Now, if we take a look here, so probably December 4, 5, and 6, I think it was, is when the king tides are going to be high. So we'll scroll out here, and you see we don't have much wave action as we go through December 1st. Now we're on into December 2nd there. Now we go to December 3rd. And again, not much wave action out there. So it's not like last round where we're kind of coinciding these king tides with some strong wave action here. We do pick up a little bit of that as we go towards the weekend, but the tides will be coming back down somewhat then, and we'll continue to watch those systems. We might get active here as we go on into towards next weekend and maybe the following week. And there's the king tides. And if we look closely there, you can kind of see that the 4, 5, and 6 of December, and it starts coming down pretty rapidly as we go on in towards the following weekend there, or into the early portion of the following week. So and again, the North American view here, we're looking at the artificial intelligence on the left versus the GFS, Global Forecast System, USA model on the right. And we'll scroll through this. 850 millibar temperatures, just about 5,000 feet, just shows where that Arctic air may be. And you can see, kind of keep it keeps it bottled up across portions of northwest Canada, portions of Alaska, and not much of that getting down into the Pacific Northwest. But it may increase some of the storm activity here as it gets back out over the Gulf of Alaska. We'll see how that goes. But again, no screaming signs of any kind of big cold air outbreak for the meantime. And in fact, I'm hoping it kind of holds off. And I do like it when we're active here, and maybe we'll get active as we go through December. But I want this cold air outbreak to somehow get down in us on January during peak season, where we can really enjoy it. If we're going to do it, let's do it right. So taking a look at the artificial intelligence, again, there goes today's system. You can just barely see that blip of moisture moving across Oregon. There goes Monday's system into Tuesday across the region. Again, kind of moisture starved as well. Another system comes through Thursday, Friday, and that one starts to get a bit more wet as we go on in through the day Friday. See almost like an atmospheric river characteristic with that one. And we start to pick things up. You can see there's a low pressure system up towards Haida Gwaii pushing into the Pacific Northwest. We get a bit more active as we go on in towards next week. Rainfall returns, perhaps some blustery conditions. And then we kind of build another ridge here as we go towards mid-December. But again, that's too far out to worry about too much of that just yet. So if we look at last night's artificial intelligence, Seattle-Tacoma precipitation, you can see we're fairly dry. There goes that weak system as we go through Monday night into Tuesday. And then you can see the precipitation pick back up as we go on in towards, December 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. And we'll be watching that on a daily basis. If you look at 850 millibars on the way far out look here, the fantasy look, you can see as we get into January, it continues to show that across northwest Canada and some of the Pacific Northwest below normal conditions here. So that's what I'm hoping for. Maybe we'll time this Arctic air down into our region out just perfectly. And you can see the heights across the Pacific Ocean, Japan to the far left. There's that La Nina flavor here just south of the Aleutian Islands, and the troughing here across some of the Northwest and Pacific North American oscillation, but this isn't La Nina look. So we'll see. We'll keep showing that as long as it shows it, and then we'll visit back here in January to see if this was correct. Check out the Patreon page if you like. What else? Hope you guys are having a good day out there, and I will talk to you guys in the next forecast.